Ever ponder why some individuals appear to be able to demand respect and adoration with ease, while others, despite their best efforts, never manage to be noticed? We're going to reveal several effective tactics that can change how others see and interact with you. This goes beyond just altering your look or using flimsy charm to win people over. It's about being aware of the subtle psychological signals that may help you stand out in a crowd and become someone who others want to be around. These insights will revolutionize your life, whether you're trying to improve your visibility in your working life or finding it difficult to get noticed in your personal connections. So, if you're prepared to change the way others see you, pay attention, because what I'm about to tell you has the potential to completely change how you connect with people and open doors. Before we get started, don't forget to press the like button, subscribe for more videos like this, and tell your friends about this one. You never knew it existed. You'll want to see every minute of what happens next, I promise. You won't want to miss the wealth of knowledge it contains. Rule 1. Accept the mysteries according to Seneca, the Stoic philosopher. To be everywhere is to be nowhere. The notion of preserving a certain amount of mystery is encapsulated in this deep phrase. It implies that one runs the danger of losing the special charm that comes with a little concealment if they are consistently present and openly honest in every area of their lives. In interpersonal interactions, this entails being involved and present yet not. Disclosing all of your ideas, emotions, and experiences. This well-rounded strategy makes those around you feel intrigued and curious. The Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung highlighted the importance of the unknown in the human mind from a psychological standpoint. He thought that since mystery stimulates inquiry and piques curiosity, it is fundamental to the human experience. By keeping certain aspects of ourselves mysterious, we pique people's interest and invite them into a more in-depth, interesting conversation. Furthermore, accepting mystery is consistent with the Socratic approach, which uses discussion and inquiry rather than direct presentation to elicit thinking and contemplation. A notion that may be applied to interpersonal relationships. Socrates' technique of thorough inquiry showed that leaving certain questions unanswered can encourage deeper participation and reflection. This method also demonstrates Aristotle's theory of potentiality, which holds that everything has the capacity to reach its greatest potential. Like an incomplete narrative waiting to be revealed, by keeping certain aspects of our personalities and lives hidden, we give others the opportunity to speculate and consider them. Rule No. 2. Instill a dread of being left behind. You have control over your thoughts, not external circumstances, as the renowned Stoic philosopher and Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius once said. This quotation is essential to comprehending this rule. It highlights how crucial it is to concentrate on growing your inner life and hobbies. You become more interesting and appealing to others around you by living a rich, interesting life that is unaffected by the presence or approval of others. Your self-assurance and confidence, which come from living a life that you like, serve as a light that attracts others to you. This notion is complemented in Western philosophy by Aristotle's concept of eudaimonia, which is often translated as happiness or thriving. Aristotle believed that leading a life of virtue and realizing your potential were the paths to ultimate pleasure. Focusing on your own development and fulfillment naturally fosters an atmosphere that others want to be a part of. Your life becomes into a model of eudaimonia, drawing in those who are looking for a similar level of fulfillment. The significance of individuation, the process of becoming self-aware and integrating the many facets of one's personality, is also emphasized in Carl Jung's psychology. You may establish a captivating presence by concentrating on your own growth and developing into a well-rounded person. People are attracted to you because of the special set of attributes you have, which comes from your dedication to self-awareness and personal development. Additionally, the idea is consistent with Socrates' advocacy of introspection and moral rectitude. When you value and understand yourself, you inherently make other people feel more. Your depth and self-awareness, which Socrates highly valued, pique their interest. Rule 3. Create your own joy. The famous Stoic philosopher Seneca perfectly encapsulated this idea when he said, "To be happy is to live in the present without worrying about the future." This emphasizes the concept that happiness should be an internal condition that one cultivates rather than a goal that is reliant on external factors like people or situations. Instead of looking for happiness and good energy elsewhere, a person may become a source of it by concentrating on living in the present and finding pleasure inside themselves. The philosophies of Carl Jung, a prominent psychologist who highlighted the value of uniqueness and the path to self-fulfillment, are in perfect harmony with the Stoic viewpoint. According to Jung, knowing and accepting one's inner self leads to genuine satisfaction. An innate sense of pleasure that spreads to others is the result of this internal process of self-acceptance and self-discovery. This rule is also reflected in Aristotle's idea of eudaimonia, or thriving. According to his theory, a person's inherent virtue and potential fulfillment constitute the ultimate form of human goodness. The secret to enduring happiness is self-actualization. Working on one's qualities and personal development makes one independent in issues of happiness and contentment, which is naturally appealing to others. Furthermore, the notion of creating one's own happiness is consistent with Plato and Socrates' ideas, who placed a strong emphasis on the value of self-awareness and reflection in leading a happy life. The well-known quote from Socrates, "Know thyself," emphasizes the importance of comprehending one's own motives and aspirations as a means of achieving real pleasure. Despite its value, Rule 4 is not always accessible. Understanding what we can manage and letting go of what we cannot are often the main goals of Stoicism. In his teachings, the Stoic philosopher Epictetus emphasized the significance of this idea. "Make the most of what you can and let the rest work itself out," he said. Applying this to the idea of availability, it implies that rather than being indiscriminately accessible to everyone, we should use our time and presence wisely, concentrating on what enriches our lives and the lives of others. Another Stoic philosopher, Marcus Aurelius, discussed the importance of time and how it had to be used wisely. "You could leave life right now," he famously declared. "Let it guide your thoughts, words, and actions." This acts as a reminder of how valuable time is and how crucial it is to use it in fulfilling and rewarding ways. From a psychological standpoint, this rule is consistent with Carl Jung's theories on individuation and self-worth. According to Jung, recognizing and appreciating one's uniqueness is essential to personal growth. By demonstrating a healthy sense of self-respect and self-worth, you gain the respect of others by demonstrating that your time and presence are valuable. Similar to how Aristotle suggested striking a balance in all facets of life, his idea of the golden mean, which promotes moderation in everything, applies here. This rule advises striking a healthy balance between being too accessible and being too inaccessible. Rule 5. Don't make someone your everything. Marcus Aurelius, a prominent Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, encapsulated this idea in his quote, "He who lives in harmony with himself lives in harmony with the universe." This quote emphasizes the importance of self-alignment and personal integrity by remaining true to oneself and not overly depending on others for self-identity or happiness. By doing so, one achieves a sense of inner harmony that radiates outward, positively affecting all aspects of life, including relationships. This idea is consistent with the Stoic belief that we cannot choose our external circumstances. However, we always have a choice in how we react to them. This implies that while we have no control on the behavior or emotions of others, we do have control over the amount of emotional and mental energy we devote to them. This rule aligns with Carl Jung's concept of individuation from a psychological standpoint. Understanding and integrating many facets of the self, according to Jung, is the path to personal development and fulfillment. Making someone else your whole focus might impede this process of personal development. Furthermore, the golden mean, the ideal middle ground between two extremes, as defined by Aristotle, may be used in this context. He promoted living a balanced life that takes into account both one's own needs and those of others. This equilibrium makes sure that while relationships are important, they don't take over a person's life. Furthermore, Plato's focus on knowledge acquisition and self-improvement is consistent with the notion of preserving one's uniqueness. He promoted the growth of individual qualities and knowledge, which can only be attained by a certain amount of introspection and self-focus. Rule 6. Put your needs first in the field of Stoicism. The significance of self-care and knowing what is most important for one's well-being are often emphasized. Prominent Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "What matters is not what happens to you, but how you react to it." This concept is essential to comprehending Rule 6. It implies that how you react to and appreciate your own needs is essential to the dynamics of any relationship. Setting limits and preventing your well-being from being jeopardized, despite how other people may see or treat you, are key. Another Stoic philosopher who discussed the significance of self-worth was Marcus Aurelius. "Never let the future disturb you," he wrote. "If necessary, you will confront it using the same rational tools that you use to defend yourself against the present." This quotation reaffirms the need of having reason and self-respect in order to be ready to defend and declare one's demands and well-being. Realizing one's own needs and potential is a key component of human development, according to Carl Jung's psychological theory of individuation. This entails identifying and defending one's own wants in interpersonal interactions, since continuously sacrificing one's needs for those of others impedes personal development. This notion is related to Aristotle's concept of eudaimonia, or thriving. He believed that leading a life in which one's wants and virtues are recognized and satisfied is the path to genuine pleasure and contentment. This implies that in order to preserve harmony in a relationship, one should not neglect their own wants and well-being. Additionally, the Socratic style of self-examination pushes people to continuously reflect on and comprehend their priorities and demands. Knowing oneself, including what one really needs from relationships and life, is crucial, according to Socrates. Rule 7. Your time is valuable. Making good use of one's time is highly valued in Stoicism. According to the Stoic philosopher Seneca, we squander a lot of our time rather than having a limited amount. This phrase emphasizes how crucial it is to value and make good use of one's time. The Stoics advocated leading a purposeful life and avoiding wasting time on pointless or minor activities. Applying this to interpersonal connections and interactions, it implies setting aside time for worthwhile and enjoyable pursuits, rather than always being available for others. Marcus Aurelius also provided insight on time management. Just like a Roman, focus every minute on completing the task at hand with accuracy, sincerity, compassion, fairness, and releasing oneself from any other distractions. This emphasizes how crucial it is to live in the moment and give your all to whatever you are doing, as opposed to being accessible all the time or preoccupied with other people's demands. From a psychological standpoint, Carl Jung's focus on the individuation process encompasses the achievement of one's own potential, which inevitably incorporates one's time management. According to Jung, real personal development comes from doing things that are really one's interests and self. Aristotle's idea of the golden mean, which refers to achieving equilibrium in everything, may also be applied to how we manage our time in the context of Western philosophy. It's about striking a balance between time spent with people and time spent on hobbies and personal development. A meaningful existence and the preservation of good relationships depend on this balance. Plato also highlighted the value of knowledge and self-care, which involves choosing to spend one's time in ways that advance one's well-being and knowledge. Being is essential to leading a moral and satisfying life. Rule 8. Don't always take the initiative in Stoicism. Balance and self-control are often emphasized. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we may listen more and say less, according to a famous quote from Epictetus, a key figure in Stoic philosophy. This quotation emphasizes the need of striking a balance in communication by arguing that one should not always take the initiative, but rather listen intently and voluntarily. This transfers into relationships by giving the other person room to reach out and participate, preventing one side from controlling the conversation. Marcus Aurelius also discussed the need of patience and self-control. Being different from the person who committed the wrong is the finest form of retaliation, he said. When it comes to relationships, this implies letting the organic dynamics of the connection develop instead of continually trying to start or manage the engagement. Carl Jung's notion of individuation highlights the significance of comprehending oneself and others from a psychological standpoint. One aspect of this comprehension is seeing how important relationship balance is. A more balanced and mutually fulfilling connection results from not always taking the initiative and giving the other person's personality and preferences space to emerge. This is also relevant to Aristotle's concept of the golden mean, which promotes moderation and balance in all facets of life. To create a healthy, reciprocal dynamic in relationships, this entails striking a balance between reaching out and letting the other person do the same. Furthermore, the idea is consistent with the Socratic values of insight and self-awareness. One engages in a kind of self-examination and awareness that Socrates highly regarded by practicing mindfulness of the balance in relational dynamics. Rule 9. Maintain a healthy emotional investment. Stoicism, a philosophy that emphasizes emotional control and perseverance, offers important insights into this idea. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus placed a strong emphasis on exercising self-control over emotional responses. Don't let the intensity of your feelings get the better of you, he once advised. Something is not always nice or harmful just because it feels that way. Vital for controlling emotional commitment in partnerships. It suggests that while feelings are normal, they shouldn't be the only factor influencing a person's behavior, particularly when it comes to relationships. Another well-known Stoic philosopher, Marcus Aurelius, promoted a logical response to life's problems, including emotional ones. He thought that harmony and balance might be preserved by the application of reason. His well-known statement, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts," implies that one's attitude and mental processes have an impact on a balanced emotional approach in relationships. This guideline is consistent with Carl Jung's psychological beliefs about the significance of self-awareness and emotional equilibrium. Jung recognized that good relationships and personal development depend on one's ability to recognize and comprehend their emotions. According to him, people should work towards individuation, which entails striking a balance between various facets of their personalities, including their emotions. Relationship emotional investment may be compared to Aristotle's idea of the golden mean, which encourages finding the morally righteous middle ground between two extremes. He believed that moderation is the key to virtue, and that a healthy emotional engagement is essential to a happy and moral relationship. Additionally, one might manage their emotional engagement by using the Socratic technique of self-reflection and analysis. Understanding one's emotional inclinations and establishing appropriate coping mechanisms are part of Socrates' advice to know oneself. Rule 10. As the famous Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor Marcus Aurelius famously said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Be prepared to go." This quotation emphasizes the idea of inner power and autonomy, which makes it especially pertinent to this rule. Aurelius' remarks serve as a reminder that while we have no control over how other people treat us, we do have total power over how we react to such treatment. We have the authority and right to end a relationship if it does not uphold our values. This choice is a strong declaration of self-worth and self-respect rather than a show of weakness. This idea is also consistent with Epictetus's Stoic philosophy. According to Epictetus, letting go of what we cannot control and realizing what we can manage leads to freedom and pleasure. In respect to relationships, this is acknowledging that although we have no influence over how other people see or value us, we do have power over how we participate in these interactions. Making the choice to leave a relationship that makes us feel less valuable is a genuine act of self-respect and personal independence. Carl Jung's focus on individuation highlights the significance of this rule from a psychological standpoint. According to Jung, self-awareness, which includes appreciating one's value and the contributions one makes to relationships, is the foundation of personal development. One of the most important steps in self-actualization and personal growth is to leave an environment that does not value their contributions. The notion of knowing when to leave also connects to Aristotle's concept of eudaimonia, or thriving. He believed that leading a life of morality and self-respect is necessary to live well and finding real happiness. This entails making sure that our interactions and relationships are civil and enhance our well-being. Additionally, the Socratic approach of continuous introspection and information acquisition pushes us to consider our relationships and determine if they respect our worth and are consistent with our ideals. As we wrap up this chapter, keep in mind that every action you take to value yourself, embrace your uniqueness, and maintain a healthy balance in your relationships is a step closer to living a more contented and genuine life. Like the Stoics, who believed in the virtues of the soul and the power of the intellect, you are powerful enough to design a life that aligns with your core beliefs. Remember that you are the creator of your own fate. I encourage you to learn more if these ideas were helpful to you. For more information about leading a life of balance, inner strength, and purpose, just click on the playlist that appears on the screen. The day is over now. Remember to give it a big thumbs up. To see our most recent material, share it and subscribe to the channel.